Water noise is annoying. Hello. Oh my goodness, there's like sawdust on my floor. My basement is in the middle of being remodeled, so still the best lighting in the house. But yeah, so I noticed that a lot of people, especially because the statement that Titanic made, hi Beverly, and hi internet machine. But I noticed some people were kind of confused about the statement. Like some people weren't sure that it even was related to the same incident that Poppy posted that video of. So I figured we could just chat about all the weirdness that is that statement and kind of the things that we learned. I think because Poppy filed a domestic violence protection order, or domestic violence restraining order, we had kind of already assumed that she had been in a relationship with Josh, but the Titanic post kind of confirmed that in a way. I guess not for sure, but the pieces kind of fit together. So when we're reading that post, when Titanic says the girl that he cheated on, he would be Josh and the girl would be Poppy, presumably. Another thing that people were kind of getting confused about. Hey. Hi, Exploding Nightmare. But yeah, I think, God, this pile of sawdust, I'm so sorry. The guy just left. He's doing the molding around the sides and the whole basement, so it looks lovely. But yeah, so there was like a money dispute that seemed to take up a big portion of Titanic's post. He was saying that there was a dispute about 2 out of 3 videos had been made that he had been paid for. And so what it seems like is that perhaps because Josh already had an issue with Titanic for hanging out with Poppy, he decided to make that also an issue with money because he had that kind of over Titanic is kind of what it seems like. It seems like he was using this money thing as a way, by Titanic's word, and just to make it clear, everything I'm saying in here is just going on Titanic's word because that's what we've got right now. So we don't know for sure that it's Poppy, but we can assume pretty well. So I did double check the date on that Reddit post and it was August 2015. So this is the same incident for sure. With this incident, there were 2 protection orders. Sorry, that's what it's called in the state I'm in. There are 2 restraining orders filed. One of them is a civil harassment order, and that's the one that, Exploding Nightmare. That's, we'll work on it. But yeah, yes, Titanic's was civil harassment and Poppy's was domestic violence. So because Poppy's was a domestic violence restraining order, that means that she has to be either like related to or had been dating the person she's filing against. Whereas Titanic's order was just, this person's messing with me. So there's also the factor of the order being denied. There are a lot of things, and I was looking into it, and it looks like in California, judges kind of have the ability to do what they want to do to a degree with restraining orders. I was reading a couple of articles about people who filed for restraining orders and had evidence that they deserved a restraining order or that if they didn't get a restraining order, they could have been at risk. And their restraining orders were denied without any actual information given, no reason given. So that's one factor. But then there's also the other factor of when you're asking for a restraining order, what you're asking is for the courts to decide that anything that happens between you and this person in the future should be something that taxpayer funding should cover. So you're not saying like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't want them to talk to me again. That's not all you're saying. What you're also saying is, if this person talks to me again, I want to use the police who are funded by taxpayers to make sure this person doesn't have the ability to talk to me again without repercussions. Because of that, a lot of times if it's found that the person asking for the restraining order has been instigating in some way, the restraining order won't be issued because the judge will say, well, you know what? You could solve all this by not even bothering the person. Hey, Preternatural. Thank you. And hi, Anne. Oh, yeah. And just not that he needs it, but sorry, Exploding Nightmare, I had to approve your message because I don't think they like swear words here, but I approved it. but yeah, I watched Repzilla's video with Rakita Law, and that was something that he brought up, that, you know, because this is two men, the judge might have just been like, y'all are dudes having a dude fight, like, deal with it. And just assuming that the only information there is to have is the information Titanic gave us, like, I don't think that's very appropriate. If somebody is attacking somebody and threatening death on people, like, they probably should be kept away from those people. But there's a reason it was denied. It could have been prejudice. It could have just been apathy. There could have been a valid reason for it. So yeah, I mean, this would be interesting. Titanic and Poppy have, okay, so the summons issue is a little confusing because a summons, while it says you have to respond in 21 days, it's 21 days after you should have reasonably received the summons. So technically, they could claim that they didn't receive the summons until the day Titanic made his statement to Philip DeFranco. They could totally claim that. And then the 21 days would start as of that Philip DeFranco interview. But saying the 21 days started the day the summons was issued, that gives him 5 more days. Yeah, no, see, the thing about the Titanic statement is I'm confused as to why it was deleted. I wonder if this could have been deleted the day after he posted it 3 years ago, for all we know, you know. It's entirely possible it's been deleted for a long time. These Reddit recovery sites, a lot of times they can just recover anything. So, but I do find it really interesting that what he said in this, like, when you read this post, for a lot of us, we were able to be like, oh my God, I saw a video of that. Like, his post so clearly described the actual incident that it almost seems like he is telling the truth, because, I mean, we saw a video that was perfectly aligned with what he said. I'm also sure that anything he might have done in this situation that could have been considered provoking, he's not going to tell us about that or tell the people in Reddit about that, because he's trying to get legal advice and be the victim in the situation. So, yeah, Abigail, when this whole thing started, I feel like a lot of people kind of were like, okay, Mars, the Me Too movement, we believe women when they say they have been abused. And I feel like a lot of Mars supporters were full force with that mindset until Poppy's statement. And I think that's kind of sad. I mean, I'm not saying you have to believe everything every woman says ever, but if you're using the mindset that you believe when women say they're being abused, it can't only apply to Mars. It just can't. I did do a video where I said I think it's super inappropriate for Poppy to use her abuse almost as a way to say Mars's didn't happen. I think Poppy's statement was awful and disgusting, but that doesn't mean I think that she's lying about what she says happened to her. So it's all very confusing, but thanks, Ethel. Yeah, Beverly, it's just such poor behavior from her. Like, I don't have to say that Poppy's lying to say that Poppy's behavior in making that statement was absolutely awful and just shockingly awful. So Mars says that that was in April of 2015, so just a few months before Josh attacked Titanic. And that was to Anne. And preternatural. Okay, so I will probably post a link on my Twitter because I don't know when I'm going to have the video out, but Preternatural wants to know what are some of the other terrible things that Titanic left up. But in Titanic's Reddit, he's like a massive edgelord. Like he is telling people to kill themselves and using slurs and just being a mean ass human being. And he's also obsessed with Ayn Rand. He got really mad at someone for calling Sean Hannity a douche at one point. So very interesting things on his Reddit. And I was going through it for hours and hours and hours, just laughing at him when this showed up. So that was kind of funny. Yeah, no, Abigail, yeah, her timing was, I don't even know if she knows what timing is anymore. Beverly, you know what? That's something that I have not allowed myself to completely process yet. But if, let's just say that Poppy's statement where she says, you know, Mars is working with my abuser and she knows damn well that he abused me. Like, if that's true, that's not okay. And that, I don't know how I could defend Mars for doing that. I really don't. Oh, you're welcome, Peachy. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Alexis. I just got started, so I feel really lucky to be where I am now. I feel really supported and just appreciate everybody. Well, his favorite slur appeared to be a slur towards gay people that starts with the letter F. That seemed to be his favorite. So yeah, just kind of a not very nice person. He was making lots of posts about how awful it is to have like welfare programs during the same time frame that he's getting supported by his girlfriend's dad. That was really precious to read. But yeah, so the video I was going to do about his Reddit wasn't going to be the most juicy thing. I was just going to poke fun at him a little bit, but it got a little more serious. Oh yeah, no, Titanic, he thinks he's the smartest guy. It's so funny. He's like obsessed with Ayn Rand and he thinks, okay, I need to clarify. This was from 8 years ago. And if you read the things I said 8 years ago, oh, okay, so I should rephrase that Titanic did at the time have a big obsession with Ayn Rand and he would just go off. Like he made a comment that he was like, oh, I can't believe anyone on Reddit has read Atlas Shrugged, as if reading Atlas Shrugged was some tremendous feat that the average person could have never done. But of course, Titanic did. Oh, thank you, Exploding Nightmare. So I think Beverly, the question Beverly's asking is, what if Mars didn't know that Josh was abusive? I think that's one of the things in this situation that is just always going to be hard to answer and talk about is whether or not Mars or Poppy knew about each other's situations and what degree they maybe should have known. Like, you know, if Poppy didn't know about the Mars situation, is that because she didn't have the ability to know, or is that because she didn't want to know? I mean, you know, and then the same for Mars. If Mars didn't know about Poppy's situation, is it because she didn't want to know? Or, so yeah, I think this is a weird situation and I don't know what to think anymore. The only thing I know for sure is that I'm not going to call anybody a liar for claiming abuse. That's just not where I'm at right now. Abigail says he's not exactly from a rich part of the country. Yeah. I'm not really going to super get into it, but in some of his Reddit posts, he makes a lot of allusions to family life and financially just not having a good time in his childhood. But yeah, that's what it seemed like. Yeah, Beverly, Poppy says that Mars knew, and Mars says that Poppy knew. So their claims against each other are fairly similar as far as domestic violence goes, which is kind of sad that these domestic violence situations have turned into Poppy against Mars instead of what they rightfully should be, which is these men and what they may or may not have done to these women. That's shitty, but it's where we're at. Abigail says they're all working together March of that year, or at least all with Titanic. Yeah, it seems like things went downhill pretty fast. As far as Titanic's timeline, things went downhill with Josh because he cheated on Poppy. And Titanic says that Josh actually like abruptly moved to another state because he cheated on Poppy. And I don't know. That's what Titanic says in his post. Anne says, he said how poor he was growing up, and I don't think that was something he was exactly proud of. Yeah, no, I got the sense that Titanic thinks that any difficulties that his parents may have had are personality flaws more than anything. And that's, oh no, Exploding Nightmare, I'm sorry. Hopefully, I need to start figuring out how to stream this differently because they do edit my streams and it's kind of weird because sometimes it doesn't make sense when it gets re-uploaded. Alexis wants to know, how long do you think Poppy and Mars knew each other, and do you think they were considered friends? I'm not really sure. That's such a weird question for me, but it seems to me like Titanic was only really posting pictures with Poppy after him and Mars kind of were falling out. So I don't know, but according to both of them, they knew each other and had met multiple times. So both of them say this. So Ethel says, I feel like they both flipped the script on each other. They both had personas. Mariah became Poppy and Mars. I don't know. She disappeared and popped back in. And now they switched shows. Yeah, no, that's really kind of what it seems like. That's what Poppy has certainly implied, that Mars is dating Josh, and people believe that Poppy is dating Titanic. So, yeah. Abigail, there are more than 4 people in Hollywood. That dating pool is way too shallow. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I guess I can't say much because I do have a friend group that moves very isolated internally or whatever, but typically not in a very negative way. People are still friends after they break up and don't beat each other up on each other's front porches. I don't know. So it tends to turn out better in my life. So, and I think they were friends, or at least in the same crowd. Yeah, they definitely were in the same creative communities at the very least. You know, if Josh is Poppy's girlfriend and he's paying Titanic through his management company to do videos, it seems like a pretty in-depth connection there. Beverly, I've thought about getting you now, but I try not to act like it, but I'm kind of an old person and I don't know how to work newfangled stuff. So I've thought about trying to give it a couple of test runs and see, but I figured I'd probably start when I don't have sawdust on my basement floor. Get myself a nice chair, sweep up. Didn't Mars say that she doesn't blame Poppy because she's young? Was she lying? If not, why would Mars work with Poppy's supposed abuser? You know, I haven't thought about it in that way. But yeah, Mars did say she didn't blame Poppy. You know, basically it was just like, oh, she's young. And Mars seems to be of the opinion that I am, that you can still be young and stupid at 20, you know, in your early 20s. So I think that's nice and refreshing. But yeah, if Mars does believe that, why would she work with Poppy's abuser? So that's one of those questions that I don't know if we're ever going to get some of these answered, because I do feel like a lot of this, the courts are going to be like, dude, what are you this isn't relevant, or like you're wasting our time. So I'm not sure how much we're going to get answered through the courts, but I think it's entirely possible that all these people are angry enough that anything that doesn't come out in the courts will just come out in public anyways. Ethel, my concept for this channel, I literally didn't have a concept. I watched Mars Argo YouTubers for a really long time, and I had thought about maybe making videos myself, but she didn't seem to want to be talked about. So I didn't feel comfortable with making videos if she didn't want to be talked about. But when the lawsuit came out, I was like, holy crap, I need to make a YouTube video. I need to talk about this with people, because everyone in my life was like, can you please stop talking about Mars Argo? I am sick of it. So now y'all have to deal with me. You know, Abigail, I don't think that was a jab. I don't think Mars saying her being young was a jab. I think maybe some people would see it that way. I can see why people would see it that way. But for me, when I am talking about somebody who may have done me wrong and I say, well, they're young, you know, they might not know any better. They're young. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that to say, you know what, don't put this much on this person. This person may not deserve to be put at fault for what I've gone through, you know? So I don't know. I think in general, because the comment was meant to absolve a level of blame, I couldn't see it as a negative thing. Sorry. Yeah, I've been loving just being able to talk about Mars Argo with everybody, because before the lawsuit, like, so many people would be like, you are literally like a crazy person, because I would try and talk about all these like connections between Poppy and Mars. And I'd be like, what do you think? Do you think these are secret messages? And everybody would be like, this is weird and I don't care. Yeah. Yeah. The thing about being young is, first of all, you just don't normally have the life experience to know why people are acting the way they are. Like, I went through that way too much in my early 20s, my late teens and my early 20s. I didn't know why people did the things they did. And a lot of times I thought that people doing shitty things to me was like my fault, you know? So I don't know, being young and going through bad shit and learning from it is kind of the best way to grow. I don't know. Oh, thank you. Which one do you like better? They're definitely a little different. Oh, thank you, Ethel. I do like a podcast. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be doing it, because it's my boyfriend's podcast, and I've just been kind of taking control over it for a while, but it's kind of helped me talk about things. I'm also very lucky that I can edit here. We don't edit the podcast, and that sucks, but I'm very lucky for video editing. I have a small group of friends, all in our mid to late 30s, and we've all been obsessed for the last year and a half. Yeah, the Weirs are out there texting each other. Did you see this and read this? Yeah, no. When the Poppy statement came out and all, you know, she was posting evidence and stuff. Gosh, I have friends who also do YouTube, like my friend Daily Joy, she does like Mars Argo YouTube videos. And then I also chat with Repzilla, and like we were all like texting and calling back and forth. It was like, oh my God, she just posted a video. Oh my God, what's going on in the restraining order? Like, me and Repzilla are on the phone, like trying to find the restraining order information. It was fun and stressful, and made me feel like I was part of a community that had mutual interests. It was very cool. Beverly, no, I am not in my early 20s. I am, won't give my exact age, but I will say that 30 isn't very distant. Oh. The Charlotte character in Poppy's world before Josh Moran came out, I speculated she was actually a flip of Poppy and the mannequin, jealous, fame-hungry person Mariah might have been. Yeah, a lot of the Charlotte theories are super interesting. Like, I have my own Charlotte theory, which is kind of a little silly, but the short of my Charlotte theory was that Charlotte was actually Debbie Ryan, and Charlotte's child Quinn was fans of the Disney Channel, watching their favorite Disney star go down the rabbit hole of drugs and sadness. Oh, exploding nightmare. You look like fine. You look fine. Titanic is a sociopath for sure. He's probably telling Poppy what to say. Yeah. I had the belief that Titanic was had something to do with that statement, and not a professional opinion, but I've also had the belief that a lawyer may not have had much to do with Poppy's statement. The more I think about it, the more it just seems like, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't imagine someone reading that statement and being like, yeah, that's the best we can do. Like, I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Unless Titanic is the one who was like, yeah, this is the best statement ever. That'll show her. Like, makes no sense. Old people unite. Hell yeah. Kick the youngins off of YouTube. Poppy seems handled. Yeah. And I worry kind of about the fact that they try and make it a storyline, her being handled and stuff, just because it just makes it so easy for that to be what the normal case is. Like, if she's in public being put into a box and dragged around by a man inside of a damn box, and it's part of her character, like, you're just naturally supposed to not question it. Like, I don't know. That's always kind of been concerning to me, but lately I think about it more, and it squicks me out a little bit. But Jesse, it's definitely being handled really unprofessionally. The fact that Poppy took so long in between her posts, like, she made her statement, and then I think it was like 2 or 3 hours later that she posted those restraining orders, and then 2 or 3 hours after that, posted the video. It seems to me like if you have 2.5, 3 weeks to prepare your evidence and your statement, you've got it right there, ready to go as soon as you're ready to release it. Like, you've had the time. You don't have to release it in segments and have the anticipation come up. Like, you can just say, look, here's my story. Here's, the restraining order, and here's the video. It all goes together, so I'm going to post it all together. Like, I don't know. Oh, Beverly, I had to approve your comment too. Oh man, yeah, the Grimes situation. I'm not somebody who has like known who Grimes is, but because of this, I did look into her, and I think it makes no sense that she's not commenting on this, or at least the least she could do is say, I understand that my fans are upset. I understand that my fans are questioning, my choices right now. I just need to take a step back and figure out what I'm doing. Like, even just a statement of, I don't know what's going on would be enough to acknowledge that she cares that something is going on. Oh, Beverly, I'm sorry. I hate that. So I guess Grimes is like a singer. Probably people in chat can describe that better. But Elon Musk, he's the guy who owns like Tesla. He's rich as fuck. He's the one who like shot that like car into space. Yeah, he's mystical. But yeah, he's just some fucking rich guy. Yes, rich and smart. I don't know. I don't want to degrade him for all the other things he is, but he's known for being rich. Anyone else think that they're meaning for Mars to be the mannequin? I feel like the stuff Poppy says is a dead giveaway alluding to that. Yeah, that's definitely been my longest running theory, is that Charlotte was supposed to be Mars. But when that was the only theory that I had, I was just kind of had it in my head that that was what they were trying to make it look like, but they always ended up instead making it look like Poppy was Charlotte and Charlotte was Poppy and Poppy was Mars. You know, like, I don't know if I'm making any sense. Read the theory that Titanic is Charlotte. Yeah, there are a lot of theories, like the Charlotte thing. And it's funny, I was never a big fan of Poppy, but the Charlotte storyline intrigued me. Like that's like what I've watched the most from Poppy is like the whole, like the problem playlist. And I was very interested. I think Charlotte is a much more dynamic personality than Poppy, but I also think that's the point. So I don't know if I should criticize that. Also makes me wonder about familial relationship. Does Poppy even bother having a social life? So in Poppy's bathtub vlog, she doesn't specify what kind of like people she's talking about, but she makes heavy implications towards the idea that she has a poor relationship with family back in Boston. And God, where did I even see this? I might have seen this in like a Discord server or something. So not really sure, but I saw something that somebody said that they were sure that they had seen like a post or a video of like the old like brown-haired Poppy talking about how she had like ran away from home or been kicked out at 15. I'm not sure if that's like some holdover from the Poppy character storyline or if that person actually saw that said. But I suppose in this world of speculation, it's something to bring up. Yeah, so we'll see what the sun decides to do for me. I should have gotten on here earlier, but it was getting repaired. Noni, thank you. It was a lot of luck. As I say, I'm very good at looking for stuff and finding different stuff. Poppy was never interesting to me either, but the dummy was something different. Yeah, like, and I suppose that's probably how it was supposed to be. Like Poppy was not supposed to be this dynamic character. And so I think that's part of the commentary, you know, that this mannequin is more dynamic than this real girl. But who fucking knows? Who knows what the hell these people are doing anymore? Yeah, Beverly, the Money lyrics, she says she ran away at 15 and that she was homeless and stuff. So, yeah. So I'm not sure if somebody like, you know how you can misremember stuff? How you like hear the song lyrics and then you're like, oh yeah, I saw her say that in an interview when really it was the song. So I'm not really sure if I'm not sure if somebody was confused or if that was actually said at one point because I've not been able to lay eyes or hear that said. It's weird how much of this is documented by the internet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this would even be a thing without the internet, like being on top of it. Because, I mean, part of the reason why Mars even filed her lawsuit is because of all the people on the internet making connections between her and Poppy. Like, it seems to me that if this hadn't been the case, that she would have just tried to move on and forget about it and start doing her own music. But because of the internet, like she couldn't. And I don't know. I mean, there may be a time for a discussion about how much of that is on us as fans for being so desperate for that information. But I just don't know if we have time to go into that discussion now. For those of us tuning in so late, where may we see this deleted post? So she wants to know. I'm not going to finish reading the comments, Sarah. The video just before this one, it should be my most recently uploaded video. I read the post in full, and then also in the description bar, there are 2 links. The first link shows a deleted Reddit post where you can see that Titanic Sinclair is the one responding to the advice. And then the second link is a Reddit post recovery site. So you can see the post on the original Reddit site and how it's been deleted, and then you can see the recovered post on a different link. So yeah, you're welcome. I have a theory that Poppy is the dumb pop star, Poppy pop star that Mars wished she could be in her song. Yeah, I think that's really on the nose. That's one of my favorite songs by Mars, and I hate that every time I hear that lyric, I'm like, are you talking about Poppy before Poppy was Poppy? I don't know. If what Titanic said in the post on Reddit is true of all the people working with X being harassed, it seems like there would be more people coming out as witnesses soon. That's true. And also, I meant to touch on this a little bit in the beginning, and I forgot, which shame on me because it's kind of important. Assuming that what Titanic said is true, harassing anyone who associates with your ex and threatening anyone who associates with your ex is an act of domestic violence. That is absolutely an act of domestic violence. So if that did happen, then Poppy is a victim of at least that form of domestic violence. So I think that's important to note. We could talk about degrees of domestic violence all we want, but I feel like it doesn't go anywhere good. But just in general, that behavior is domestic violence behavior. So if it is true, then she has experienced some form of that. We need to get you a catchphrase like rep instead of vehicle. We can get toy boat. Oh, well, this might be, I don't know if it'll be a good catchphrase, but it's one of my favorite stories of the time that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. One time I was trying to explain a story about this dock that me and my friend used to go to and do things that maybe they would prefer us not do on the dock. I'm not talking sexually, but I am talking drugs, so okay. But I couldn't remember the word for dock, and I called it a water porch, and now all of my friends call docks water porches because they tend to like that better, I guess. But yeah, keep throwing ideas at me. We'll come up with something eventually. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about my channel just because I started it without much of anything in mind other than wanting to talk about this kind of stuff. When did you get into the Poppy Mars Argo stuff? I'm trying to think. It was definitely less than like a year and a half ago, but probably more than 9 months ago. Like, I'm definitely not like an original fan. Like, I wasn't around when Mars was around, but I've been around long enough that I consumed absolutely as much information as I could. And once it seemed okay to talk about Mars, I started trying to find out more than what was already out there. I found a couple of things, but I don't know how I'm going to follow that up because I'm not a super sleuth. I'm just super lucky. But yeah, let's see. So I'll probably get off here in like 10-ish minutes because it's about 8:30 my time, and the sun is getting ready to set. So I keep trying to stand in front of my sawdust pile. Do you think Titanic and Poppy are romantically involved? So I think it was his first video that he did about this topic, Edwin's Generation. He said that he knows people who know Poppy and Titanic, and he said that those people that know them say that they are dating. I don't know. I don't know what I think. I don't know. I guess it would be hard for me to imagine the level of control that we see between Titanic and Poppy. Like, I know it's supposed to be an act. I know it's supposed to be, but it just doesn't ring that way for me. I think that would be strange if they weren't dating, you know? But stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened in this case. So I have a hard time deciding what I think about that. Oh, man. I never ended up re-bleaching my hair because I didn't have to. I'm so glad I didn't because it would have fallen out. But it's all fairly even, so yay me, and I didn't have to pay $300 at a salon because I'm cheap. I think so. She's a little too much stand by your man. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I can't see it even. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think if I've even had a friend I would defend in the way that like she's defending him or allows him to defend himself. For some reason, I don't ship Titanic and Poppy. I never did, and I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think they this might not be like the most awesome thing to say, but like the chemistry between Titanic and Mars seemed legit. So, up until the end, I think in the Delete Your Facebook video, you can kind of see some like discomfort in Mars's body language, but before that, their chemistry seemed really good, and so I just never see that chemistry with Titanic with Poppy, and so I never thought much of the idea of them being together. Yeah, it's the Delete Your Facebook video. I feel like for me, it might have been one of my first like times I like laid eyes on their project, but I know that for me, when I first watched it, I was like having a hard time understanding, first of all, what it was supposed to be. And then second of all, having a hard time understanding this relationship I was seeing in front of me. Like it was weird. Then I got to know more of their stuff and I was like, oh, okay, they're just weird. But finding out the dates of everything that happened with them, watching the Delete Your Facebook video is kind of weird, kind of spooky in a way. There was one piece of evidence that confused me. It was a screen cap of emails and something about talking about friends and like talking about someone's grandma to taking her to Red Lobster. So Ethel, that situation was Repzilla was contacted by Titanic, basically being intimidated. Titanic was talking about name dropping people in Repzilla's life who Titanic should have had no reason to know about. And so that was what that was all about. It was basically, Repzilla was just showing how Titanic tried to intimidate him by using his loved one, his personal life to keep him from talking. How do you keep dates straight? Oh my God. I could always be wrong about some dates. I tend to be fairly accurate, but I sucked at most everything in school but history. So I've just always been pretty good at remembering dates and names, and that's about all I've been good at, except for finding stuff I wasn't looking for. But yeah, I'm gonna get off here in about 3 minutes, it looks like, because my computer is dying and my sun is dying. Oh, that sounded awful. I meant the sun in the sky. Ooh. Anyways, wow, I hope Google, please edit that out for me when you re-upload this. That's not even funny and I shouldn't laugh. No, every child in my life is doing great, okay? Shit. Oh, I've got like tears in my eyes, hold on. Okay. All right, y'all are gonna have to laugh, but I got my beautiful straw. In honor of our favorite lawyer, I've got whiskey, but I promise you it's not the good stuff he's drinking. You can see in the older videos that Mars and Titanic looked happy and they joked a lot, but in Delete Your Facebook, it looked like Mars was trying to do that with him and he seemed weird. Yeah, I kind of noticed that, like, it's hard to know because, okay, my computer's probably going to die, so I'm going to just finish this and then say goodbye. But yeah, Delete Your Facebook, it almost seemed like he was, like, trying to get sympathy for, like, the weirdest stuff, but it could have all been scripted, so I don't know. But yeah, Delete Your Facebook, watching it critically is really weird. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to try and get the whole Reddit video up. Probably not tomorrow because my friend's bachelorette party's tomorrow and she's renting a party bus. Gonna be fun, but hopefully Friday I can get that video up. But yeah, thank you guys and good night. My name is Sharon. By the way, I don't really say my name very much, but I guess if I'm trying to get to know y'all, I should let y'all get to know me too. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And I'll let you know when I'm going to live stream again.